So welcome, Niranjana. Take it away.
Well, blessings to all of you. And I would love to see your faces. So, unless you're um, doing dishes or highly distracted, I really welcome you to turn on. Um, Hello, Maitri. Hello, Hugh, Eric. My husband Mahadev has also joined us in this circle. Mike, Sam, oh, Vivek. Hello. God bless you all. I feel really blessed to Alex. Thank you for joining and showing me your beautiful face. To be able to be with you on this particular day. It's a day celebrating love. I wish we had more days that we celebrated love, but um, let's take advantage of this day. And the reading today was, I have to say, a little challenging for me. When I read the reading, I thought to myself, and even talked to another friend, it's like, yeah, there's just like a bunch of definitions and a bunch of, just information. And it's like, no, Swamiji would never do that. And so I spent the day in seclusion yesterday and really diving deep. And Swamiji would never just put out random information. So I really explored and the teaching that was brought today. And I want to show you how I explored it, because I'm an artist and I explored it by drawing it. And I put up here, follow the law and trace it back to its origins. So I drew this big line down here, and what this teaching today, what this reading is about, which has totally infused my being and has inspired me in such a huge way, is that we talk about Moses bringing the law, and I'm almost imagining God and Divine Mother, the Heavenly Father, and all the heavenly angels all going like this, sitting in heaven saying, oh my goodness, do I really have to tell them? And they look at each other and they say, yeah, I think we really have to tell them. And what needed to be told? They needed to be told to behave themselves. They needed to be offered some laws. And it was a lower age then. So we can think about that and say, oh my goodness, did they really need to be told? Well, they did. They needed to be told to behave. And I imagine this playground where a bunch of children are gathered, and they just needed to be told, don't kill each other. I mean, it sounds silly, but they just needed to be told how to behave. Be kind to one another. Don't kill one another. Don't sleep with somebody else's spouse. Again, it seems silly, but sometimes we just need to know what the rules are and these laws. And I find myself even curious. It's like, what if God were to come down, Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, and give me a few tablets? How might I be asked to behave? Where have I misbehaved? And certainly, I think the refinement that has come from the higher ages, how we're asked to behave wouldn't be at such a gross level. We would be asked to behave at an ever more subtle level. So I do invite us to go into our own playground of life and see how we may be misbehaving. And I'm curious, even as we talk about laws, have we even written laws that might be false laws that we live by? what messages have we written, or what messages were we given that aren't of truth? We may have been told something when we were little, and we held that somewhere in our belief system, and we've come to know it as maybe a law or a rule that we live by. So my invitation today, it's a big invitation. I'm actually inviting you into a week of introspection. I'm inviting you into looking at how you may have written some beliefs that are absolutely false, but you live by those laws. Now that's one aspect. That was Moses and the laws, and what false laws are we living by? And then Jesus the Christ came. And the message of Christ is, rather than one of behaving, Christ came and offered us the message of love and asked us to experience God, to feel and perceive. Moses came and said, behave yourself. And Christ came and said, feel me. Feel me in yourself and feel me in each other. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. And thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Christ came and offered us the power to rise. That is grace. He came and offered us the power to rise, and he asked us to rise in love. He asked us, if we believe in truth, to rise in that truth, to find God in truth, to live in the wisdom, to live in love. God, through the great ones, through Master, brings us the power to rise. Grace is always present. We need only to tune into that grace. God's grace is nothing that we need to earn. It is here right now, naughty or good, even if we misbehave on the playground. God's grace is here. Even if we swing higher than we're supposed to swing, and one of the chains breaks and the swings break and we fall down and we say, oh, yeah, somebody told me not to do that. God still loves us, and that grace is still there. And when we go back to asking, what law may we have written, might I have written? I'm curious. Have you written any laws that say that the grace is there for others, but maybe not me? That grace is there for others, but I have to do something to earn it. Let's sit with that for a moment. I'll confess. Master says he will come with bleeding feet 1,000,000 times. Even if one stray brother is left behind. And there was a time I was convinced that I was that one stray brother and I was going to be the last in line. Do we know that we're loved? Have we heard somebody else's false words to convince us that maybe we're not, when we are? Do you know how fully you are loved? I'm going to bring us to the reading from the Gita. And this reading comes from the 18th chapter. We've gone all the way through the Bhagavad Gita, the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna has dropped the bow. Krishna has said, pick up that bow, straighten that spine, live for me, live for God. And at the very end, in the 18th chapter, there's a few more words that follow this, but this is pretty much the last message, and I'll read it to you now. You've already heard it earlier, but maybe close your eyes. Breathe and open into your heart and listen to these words from the Lord, from Krishna. Nay, but once more, take my last word, my utmost meaning have. Precious thou art to me, right well beloved. Listen, I tell thee for thy comfort this. Give me thy heart, adore me, serve me, cling in faith and love and reverence to me. So shalt thou come to me. I repeat, so shalt thou come to me. I promise true, for thou art sweet to me. And let go those rights and writ duties. Fly to me alone. Make me thy single refuge. I will free thy soul from all its sins. Be of good cheer. Spoken to you, each of us. No reserves. And I want to inspire one more step as we take this inspiration into our week. And it is how God's love expresses on this plane. And Swami Kriyananda, who brought us the example of discipleship, who brought us generously the message of community, practiced this every day with every person. He was a man of great kindness. So I want us to take the acts of kindness out into the world. And I want you, as we go back, to look at the laws. What stops you? What law, what boundary might stop you when you feel the act to be kind? And is it because it's a stranger? Master would stop at a store to make a purchase and brought somebody just the right amount of money that they needed. They needed at that moment, stopped and offered that change. Kindness loosens the bond of ego identification. Swami tells us that kindness is the way to overcome feelings of anger, jealousy, depression. He was once asked, "How can I overcome self-loathing?" And he answered, "By loving others." Kindness to others is the pathway to divine love. And I know this is a Sunday message, but I am asking you to take this into your week, to find any false laws that you have written, and to live a bold life of kindness and love. And I would, now that I've actually shared that, I'll actually tell you a little bit about myself. I presently live at Ananda village. I've been here for about 11 years. I lived in the Ananda Seattle community for 14 years. And you can do the math. I've been around Ananda for about 25 years. And I have, in Seattle, when I was there, developed the yoga teacher training program that continues now, now being offered by Murali Venkatrao, an incredible program that they're now offering online. And I taught there. I was part of, my husband and I were part of building the temple there. And we're on that team of people that raised that from dust to form. And here down at the village, these last, since 2017, I've been guiding what is called the Living Discipleship Program. And Hugh came down and participated in that program with me when we were able to meet in presence. And just want to say that I offered a program in March and COVID hit. Halfway through the program, I needed to send the great souls that had gathered home. And these last 9 months have been 9 months of birthing something new. And I would like to share that Living Discipleship continues. And it is, rather than being diminished by COVID, it has taken a grand step forward to now being a hybrid program. We will cover, Hugh remembers, a lot of the content that we covered in the program will now be covered online, and we'll still have the immersion component. And then the immersion component can really focus on community, divine satsang, friendship, deeper and longer meditations, greater opportunities for seva. So that's just a little bit about me and what I've been doing, because the, you know, when we're offered a challenge, we don't buckle at Ananda. We figure out, how do we take that challenge and rise? So that has been my journey of the last 9 months. And again, I welcome all the other faces forward for continuing satsang. And I open it up to the group for reflections, for questions. Bless you all.
Yeah, thank you, Niranjana. And I want to add on there, as people are maybe contemplating, do you have a question or a comment in a moment? But what you said, Ananda, devotees of Paramahansa Yogananda do not buckle in times of, call it whatever, chaos, craziness, or times of opportunity, to see what is trying to happen now because of something going on in the outer world. And I'm so grateful to say that, and everyone online knows this, that Ananda in Texas has taken that challenge as well. And here we are, still vibrantly coming together, bringing these great souls from Ananda Village in Italy and India to come on most Sundays. And it's just a beautiful thing to watch. And it will continue to grow as long as we have people that are willing, the devotees who are willing to carry forth the teachings of the great master who brought them to America in 1920. So having said that, let's open up the floor. You can do it a few ways, as we have learned over these 10 months now. You can unmute yourself and speak directly to Niranjana. You're welcome also to put a question or a comment in the chat box. And I'm going to look there now because there are 2 things in there. Let me see that I have. Oh, it's people saying good morning and how great. So here is one question I'll read from the chat box, and then we'll move forward from there. So someone has asked, how did you find this path?
Yes.
That's always a great one.
It's a fun story to tell. So my husband Mahadev and I were living in the Midwest, and we were about to make the journey to Seattle. And I had a very rough move prior, 5 years prior. I didn't plan my move well enough. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to plan this move with great intention. I'm going to explore this place called Seattle and explore, how am I going to land in this new place? And so I got a Yellow Pages. Do you remember those? Yeah, 25 years ago, I got a Yellow Pages out, and I had a friend send it from Seattle, and I sat down with the Yellow Pages, and I started to look for churches and places to connect, and I found East West, and I found Ananda, and I just researched, and within 1 week of landing in Seattle, or actually we're not in Seattle, we landed on Vashon Island, and within 1 week there was the local rag that advertised a gathering on intentional communities that was being sponsored by the Vashon Metaphysical Society. And at the time, Mahadev was working incredible hours on a startup company, upwards of 110 hours a week. And our personal tendency when we get tired is to collapse, is to just go, let's just watch a movie. But I'll tell you the interesting thing, that didn't occur to either one of us. And on that Friday, I believe it was a Friday, we traveled down the center of Vashon Island, following these very obscure directions like take a right at the biggest boulder after the sign that says, garbage dump. And so we follow these obscure directions. We find ourselves at a parking lot in the middle of the woods with other cars. no other signs. And we're looking at each other, and fortunately, another car pulled in behind us, and we said, we're here for a talk on intentional communities. Oh yeah, follow me. And they find this path and going into the middle of the woods, and there's this yurt in the middle of the woods on Vashon Island. And there we find two souls, Freeman and Padma McGilloway, who are the directors of Ananda Seattle, sitting in front of a harmonium. And they are gathered with this group of people who they didn't know, and they prayed. And we thought, oh my Lord, they're praying. We were just at a Unitarian church where they, barely use the word God. And here these people are using the word God, they're praying, they're chanting. And honest, I have no idea what they said. I just saw a light in their eyes. And we just asked, how do we get more? And then we walked into Ananda, and we knew we were home. We saw the light in people's eyes, and there was no turning back. There was no false joy, which we had seen at other churches where people knew how to paste on a smile. It was I'm happy. It wasn't the authentic joy that bubbled from within. And that's not to say that Ananda souls don't suffer. We suffer deeply because God loves us. God gives us deep tests. Ananda is not the place to come to for rainbows and unicorns. You come to Ananda and expect to be tested, because God has committed to us that he will bring us home, and he will bring us home through guiding us through those deep tests. And those were the faces I saw. So Linda, thank you for asking the question.
That's beautiful. So everyone know we are off of Facebook now, live. So sometimes when we say that, and it is the truth, we're not on Facebook, cameras will open up a bit more. So feel free to do that. And, okay, turning it over to the floor or the chat box.
Can I just say that maybe your information is not altogether there, that the Jewish, like when Moses came, the Jews have the mystical Judaism has the Kabbalism, and they have the Zephyrah, and that's the legacy with the 10 worlds, which I think is the same as the chakra system. They have, the same 3 energy channels that, like, we have the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushumna, and they have their 3, but they call them something different. So I just thought, the law that we know from the Christian tradition of Judaism is a lot different than the Jews hold themselves. So I'm not Jewish or anything, but I just have been studying a long time.
The Kabbalah is deep and profound and beautiful. And yes, to say that Moses came to have to wag a finger is not to say there weren't the deeper teachings. There are the deeper teachings in all their traditions. The finger wagging came and said, come, behave. And so Alex, thank you for presencing really the truth that lies underneath all the religious traditions. And those teachings are profoundly deep and dive into the same principles that we offer. So I appreciate your presence. There was so much more that I want. It's like, okay, how do we do this in 15 minutes? And I took 20. And but I appreciate you presencing that, Alex. Bless you. Anybody else?
I'd like to welcome Mahadev, just because he's also right there in a different part of the house. And if you want to say anything, you're welcome to say hi or not. We don't like to pressure people, but you've been on this path a long time as well. Uh-oh.
I think he may have hit the wrong button.
I don't think
He'll be back.
he didn't really panic and run, right? He'll be back.
Hi,
He will
Niranjana.
be back. He will be back.
Hi, Niranjana. I just want to thank you for your beautiful talk and very, I missed you the last time you were here because of my mom's stroke, but
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more about the Living Discipleship program, who it's appropriate to, when could people apply for this new program, and when you said it still has the immersion component, what does that mean?
Yeah. Maitri, let me give an opportunity to Mahadev to say hi, and then I would love to do that. And I'm probably going to do a screen share because it'll help me communicate really, really well to you. But Mahadev, why don't you say hello? And did you disappear on me again? I'm not sure what that.
Oh, wait.
Mahadev, are you around?
No,
Mahadev,
not-
are you here?
Hold on. Here he comes.
Here, my connection is very intermittent. I'm staying off of the house internet so Niranjana's doesn't get overloaded. And I'm on my phone, so it keeps dropping and reconnecting.
Why don't you come downstairs and join me?
Okay.
So I am going to do a screen share with you. It's going to take me just a moment. And so let me just minimize this. The program is, let's see, what's the best way for me to do this? So the program is going to now be offered in 3 parts online. And I think it's going to take me a little bit too long to do that. How long do we have? How long are we together?
Oh, we have another good 30 minutes.
All right.
For those who would like to stay. Do we have to make you a co-host in order to share? I'm just asking, wondering.
Nope.
Okay.
You don't. And yeah. So just give me a minute here. I think I'm going to.
We're seeing all of your emails now.
Yeah, I know. I could be a little bit more professional about this, but you're my friends.
Okay. Yeah.
Family. Okay. So let me I want to be able to see you at the same time. So let me get that out of the way and that out of the way and this, and click there and here and here. Okay, and Mahadev is coming. All right, so scooch in here, sweetie. So are you seeing these rings off to the left-hand side? Awesome. And you don't need to see so much of me. Let's see if we can make this any bigger. No, I don't think we can. All right, so here we go. So the Living Discipleship Hybrid, all of this, and when I say all of this, this is now the content used to pack into this program that Hugh did. Hugh, was that an intense program?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was powerful.
It was powerful. I promise it's still going to be powerful. What we're increasing is digestibility. So the program, so here's part one. This is the part that's going to be offered online. There's over 30 topics that we're going to explore online, and we've put those topics into 3 categories. One category is Swami Kriyananda and Ananda. The other category is a life lived for God, and the other one is a battlefield of life. And I can go and I can show you the components of what's covered in those in a moment as well. You as a participant can hop on this wheel at any point. This program is going to launch in May 29th, and we will start with Swami Kriyananda and Ananda. And then in the autumn, we will be offering a life lived for God. And next, I think it's January, February, someplace like this, we offer this. So each of these, 1, 2, 3, 7 weeks. The first week is basically just a launch week to say hello, gather as a group. So it's 6 weeks of study, but it's going to be a rather full week of study. It's going to be a Saturday morning, a Sunday morning, a Wednesday morning where we gather live. And this is a global reach program. This program is meant to gather disciples from around the world at the same time. So what that means is this program will launch for us in California probably at 6 or 6:30 in the morning is the time that we will be getting up to do this program. It might be 7. We're going to see what works out best for India. That means that India will be joining us at either 7:30 or 8 their time in the evening. So you can see that the program travels across the US, reaching you guys at a more, let's just say, maybe delightful time to gather, convenient time, 2 hours later on a Saturday, a Sunday, and a Wednesday. When somebody completes all 3 of those online components, then they are invited to apply to the immersion program. So that's how that works. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. We have a steering committee that helped guide this of Jyotish Devi, Pranaba, and Anandi. And next waivers from around the world that helped us develop it. So let's see if I can increase the size of this. So the first module, the first module there. Swami Kriyananda, disciple, teacher, friend, a component on Ananda music, energy, willpower, magnetism, and then a deep dive into a meditation. Swami Kriyananda and Ananda, their roles in this world, the building of Ananda, qualities, principles, and practices. Hong Sa, principles of the sadhaka and sevaka orders. Community, a path to God. Gratitude, spirit of generosity and tithing, and then Swamiji's last will and testament. That is the first one. The second module, the one that then is offered in autumn, I'm not sure if you can read these, but I'll just read them quickly to you. The mission of the masters and their love for us, attunement to the guru. We offer here the Om technique. Each module has one primary technique. Building your relationship with God, practicing the presence of God. Who is the doer? How to be a divine channel of God. Guru Seva, devotion and the power of prayer, higher consciousness through music, spiritual friendship, and seeing God in everyone. That's in autumn. And then we come to the battlefield of life, the gift of tests, Music as an antidote for overcoming negative emotions. Kriya is offered here. Attitudes, superconscious living, ego renunciation and transcendence, cultivating good habits, fixing in the habits in the brain at will, discrimination, and being practical in your idealism. I don't think there's any more to share there graphically. So thank you for that. And Maitri, I believe that you asked, so yes, so the other part I want to share, how to prepare for taking this program. So it is important to consciously prepare for this program. It is a life-changing opportunity, transformational experience. And I don't use those words lightly, but when I go back and I hear from the people who have taken this program, I am hearing their testimony to that. The website is going to launch in a couple weeks, so there'll be testimonials on there that you can read. But to prepare for the program, you need to be a Kriyaban for at least 1 year, because after receiving Kriya, the focus should be on deepening your Kriya. Not that these topics are distractions, but really Kriya needs to be the focus. Raja Yoga is one of the classes that most centers offer. The completion of Raja Yoga and the base classes of Learn to Meditate, deepening meditation, whatever the primary classes are at somebody's Sangha should be completed. Somebody obviously has taken their vow of discipleship. They know that this is their home. They know that Ananda is their place. Linda, so good to see your face. Thank you for turning on your camera. So a good foundation in the teachings, because we're not offering these classes as the foundational teachings. It's a deep dive into these topics. It's not the introduction. You've had the introduction. You might say, I've done this class before, of course. Like, we come to Sunday service, and guess what? You were at this Sunday service maybe last year. And why do we repeat? We just need to hear it again. It's a deeper dive. The other thing is offering yourself in service. One of the things that we realize is that when somebody comes to the path, that there's a shift that happens. There's a shift when people begin to serve. Ananda is about giving back. And so there's a period, and I will let you know that my first year at Ananda, I consciously said, it's my time to receive, because I've been a big giver in my life. I had to say, I'm choosing not to give because I need to fill my tank. And then my tank was full and I started to give. So if somebody is still filling their tank, let that tank fill until the inspiration comes for them to give back and to honor that time of filling that tank. But then there's a time where we must step into service. Ananda is service. It's just a part of our path. So Kriya, foundation, service, a strong sadhana. When I say a strong sadhana, an hour and a half a day is like a good foundation. And maybe a little bit more than that when you come into the immersion, because the immersion will ask more of you. Yeah, thanks. I will. Just wanted to make sure that I had those. Are you ready? And I often get the question, people, some people can be too humble and say, oh, I'm not ready. And that's where you go to Supriya. And Supriya is going to say, you're ready, sign up, like it's not. Or she might say, I think it would be great for you to spend some more time on sadhana, or why don't you come and serve? Why don't you come and serve once a week and really dive into that aspect? Or, how about if you start learning how to play the harmonium and develop devotion? So really look to your spiritual guides to Supriya, to leadership, to help you understand how to take your next step to prepare for this. And this really is a program, I have to say, that to put on your list and say, when will I be ready? And some of you might be ready right now. I know that some of you are ready right now. I know that with all my heart. And Mahadev asked if I wanted to share a little bit about the immersion. The immersion will be 21 full days. So it'll have travel days on both sides. So you can look at it as 23 days. And it is a program where you park your devices. If you bring a computer, if you bring a phone, you must confess. And I take your devices and I put them in a basket and I put them in a room, and you do not have access to them. So you must be prepared to say that for this time, I am stepping into an inner pilgrimage. I am stepping away from devices. And if anybody's gulping, it can be a big gulp for people, but I'll tell you, I have not met one person that has gone through this program who has regretted giving up their device. Hugh, got anything to say about giving up your device?
No, it was a blessing. I mean, I'm not a social media guy to begin with, so it wasn't a problem for me. I don't do Facebook or none of that.
Yeah. So,
So Mayatri has asked, could you just at least mention the cost? She put that in the chat. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the cost, thank you for taking the modules. Each module is $695. There is a sliding scale for anybody who's working at minimum wage or devotee wages. Anybody who's working for the church, and this program is about supporting our discipleship, and this program is not about making money. This is a not-for-profit experience. Right now, all the people that have been building this program have been volunteers. And I can't continue to ask people who are working at minimum wage, and at the village, most of them have been cut to 60%. They're on unemployment. Those are the people that have built this program. I need to start paying these people. And so that money is going to come from people that have jobs. If you do not have a job, all you need to do is talk to me if finances are an issue. This is not about limiting anybody because of finances. So there's a sliding scale, 50% off if you are if you're working for devotee wages. And then for the immersion program again has a sliding scale for the program fee. Hello, Pam, good to see you. There's a sliding scale. The fee is $1,200 and slides down to $600. I've had, and then you do have room and board on top of that. I've had devotees who work for minimum wage, devotee wages, that felt so inspired by this program, they paid the full $1,200 because they wanted, that was just their commitment. But again, it's at an inspirational level. And I have found that there is a direct correlation between the effort that somebody puts out to match energetically this program. I have given full ride scholarships before, and it didn't work. It didn't work. It ended up that person, it just didn't work. So there is a match, energy to energy. And how do we find that right energy? You might have to help us find that right energy if resources are an issue. And I know with COVID that people are in very different places. So please don't let finances be the end reason. And just know that this program's been built from the ground up from a bunch of souls that are piecing it all together financially.
Niranjana, just to let everybody know of our Sangha, we really recognize just the depth and importance for us all, especially out here, in the prairie, as we refer to it, to be able to have these kind of opportunities to deepen it for ourselves, but also to help, our Sangha increase its magnetism. So we started, a few years ago, a scholarship fund, of which we have a process that people have to apply. It's not just anybody that comes. And so I want to make sure everybody realizes that scholarship program still exists. And if they're interested, they can talk to Supriya or me, or, and we can, work with that too, to help. And that's in fact how Hugh was able to attend, was through our scholarship program. So, but we do have that going. The other thing I wanted to just mention, one other thing around cost is just a curiosity. I know you said you have a sliding scale. Is there a way, or have you considered like a payment plan? That would be another question cost-wise. And then the other question I have, and I'll be quiet after that, is, there's many of us who have been around for a long time, and we can always use to go deeper into this. But what I'd like you to address is to share with us the people that have been around a long time, that have gone through this program, to help encourage perhaps some of us that are thinking, well, maybe I don't, that kind of thing. Please share about that.
I would love to share about that, because when we developed this program 3 years ago, when I took it over in 2017, we revamped it completely. We made sure that it was no longer an entry-level program, which it used to be for Ananda Village. People needed to come through this program before they lived at the village, which meant they were pretty entry-level. And that wasn't working because other communities, other centers were sending people that were around Ananda much longer. So we revamped it. And the whole strategy is that people every 10 years or 8 years, 5 years can come back and take this program, that it's offered at such a depth that it's not a one-time only experience at all. So I just want to encourage, I had somebody do the program for their very first time, and she came onto the path when I did, so 25 years ago. And she took it and was delighted, amazed. So it's for anybody. I'm encouraging people that have taken Living Discipleship already to come back and take it again, to do another dive into the teachings, to go that deep and immerse yourself for that period of time is really it really is an inner pilgrimage. So that's my encouragement, is that people don't view it as something that they just do once, that they really do revivify their discipleship, that they don't put themselves in a, oh gosh, I'm going back to kindergarten. How embarrassing is this? No, that's not it at all. It's like, I am stepping forward and saying yes to my discipleship, and I'm doing this, and I'm going to go into this immersion. And I might be going in with people that I teach, you know, but here I am. I'm going to go in and take another deep dive, because we all take in the information at the level we're at. We hear what we need to hear. And just to say, the 7 weeks is going to be an intense 7 weeks. It's six hours online, and it's going to be at least 4 to 6 hours of study each week. So what we're trying to do is have content off site. So there's a whole learning management system that will be populated with reading material, quotes, music, videos, special talks on the topic that you're going to want to study before the Saturday and Sunday. So Thursday and Friday are sort of study days to prepare for the weekend, so that when you come into the conversation, there is a conversation to be had. So, and what we don't want to do is have you online receiving a lecture. What we want online is that you're engaging in a conversation. It's a satsang, it's a gathering, it's an exploration, it's experiential.
And I'll jump in for a moment. After 20 years, I retook Living Discipleship. I was part of the group that was interrupted by the appearance of COVID, but it was such a profound and deep experience, both the teachings that I received, and I also want to speak to the satsang with the people that you are in the program with, and the bonding and the deepening of that soul friendship with the group of souls that are going through this experience with you. And I just totally appreciate how that bonding and experience will happen through the online portion, and of course in the immersion portion as well. So I just want to affirm that coming back to take this every 8 to 10 years or something would be just a delightful, blissful, and restorative experience.
Thank you. I think too that, especially because we're out here, and even though many of us, although not this past year, go regularly to Ananda, it's not the same as when you're able to really go and immerse yourself in a program that's so specific like this. It's not the same as going to even Expanding Light and taking, whatever, for even teacher training, which is a long program, right? It's just not the same. And I know that there are ministers, there's light bearers, residents that retake it. And I'm encouraging myself and my husband. We hope we can jump in too, because gosh, especially after this year with what we've all gone through, oh my gosh, I just, it sounds like a lifeline to me.
Yes, I've been intentionally taking other programs, other global programs, to really learn the art of bringing together people for online experiences, breakout groups, small groups, family groups. I'm in the largest program I've been in is a 1,400 person program, and have been able to build community. Yeah, so that's a mind blower, isn't it? I'm regularly in groups of 500 where we do breakout groups and develop and really have a sense of intimacy, friendship, connection. And certainly I'm not looking to offer a program quite that large, but just to say that the online platform, I have had some of the deepest experiences that I've ever had with fellow humans online. And I've been studying the art of that intentionally for this program. So it really is about connection, not just listening and receiving. It's really about an opening the heart, getting to know one another, feeling the broader family globally.
Thank you for that, Niranjana. We are a small scale here in our local area compared to all of that, and yet we're finding that as well. Our discussions of Treasures Along the Path on Tuesday, I'm putting in a plug for that, 10 a.m. Treasures Along the Path. When we get together, it might be 6, it might be 10 of us, but the depth and the richness of that discussion. Some people, it's okay if they just choose to listen. Maybe they didn't get to listen to the talk, but those who have, it's an amazing richness and deepening for all of us who are on. And Mike, who is there, and Jyoti are leading that and take charge of it. And so we understand, we experience that on a very small scale, but this is our local yokel Texas group, guys. And it's open to Minnesota and Colorado and California. We have other people come on sometimes for kirtans, but we are family. We are devotees of the one infinite light. And so thank you for saying that, and all the information about this living discipleship. Before, because it's after 12:30, but I want to open this up for anyone else. Questions for Niranjana?
Just a comment, Niranjana, and Pam and I wanted to say hi, and thank you for a wonderful talk, wonderful presentation, especially on the living discipleship. We have been anxiously awaiting hearing about how the program is moving along, but we now have to go and start up our Ananda Monterey Bay Sunday service. So thank you, and joy be with you all. Love you. Bye,
God
guys.
Bless.
Thank you.
Anybody else that needs to head out? I do see that Alex typed a question. What will be gained from the program itself? Have the devotees through the program established themselves in Sabikalta Samadhi? Is it more geared towards externalities such as building communities and teaching others? Well, no, I have not had anybody tell me that they've reached Samadhi, Nirvikalpa or Sabikalpa Samadhi, but that is the aim of all of our teachings, is establishing ourselves in God. And if somebody had reached a state of Samadhi, they would have kept it to themselves, because that's simply what people's states of consciousness are best kept as treasures to spread. That it's a gem to be cherished, and to commune with God in those more exalted states. So to whatever degree somebody, I do not set out as a goal that I have somebody reach those states, but that is the ultimate goal. My aim is to support each soul in purifying that which needs to be purified, that they can let go, to have the experiences that allow our consciousness to expand so that we can dive into those states. Sabikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi come from our personal practice. It comes from our practice of Kriya. It comes from our commitment to our sadhana and our relationship to God. And in that sense, all of our teachings aim somebody in that direction. It is not about the externalities, although it is important to understand as a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda through the channel of Ananda, that there is a quality of Ananda. There are principles of Ananda that help guide our awareness. It guides how we work with one another. And understanding how Ananda was built, for instance, is key to understanding how Ananda operates today. So while it might even seem like that first section might be a little bit about the external, it's not, because understanding Ananda is about understanding joy. It is understanding harmony. It is understanding cooperative obedience. It's understanding that which has established these communities that have to be some of the longest standing communities that continue to thrive in the spiritual realm. So I can't say that we won't talk about the external, but this is an inner pilgrimage. And even when we do talk about the external, it's because we need to understand the foundation that all of this springs out of.
Thank you. It's Mike Wolverton.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Niranjana. Hi, Mahadev. Thank you so much for joining us, and so much enjoyed all to learn about the program and especially the message. Would you like to say another word or two about your wonderful question, which I know I'll be delving into? What messages are we given that are not of truth? I mean, my own take of it is my heart's expression in this life based in any way on something that is not my real truth or dharma? And also, if you want to throw in, how was your recent seclusion, if you wish to share anything?
I'm sorry, Mike, you broke up a little bit. Are you able to repeat? I'm so sorry to ask, but can you repeat the question? Because you just broke up a little bit on me.
How would you answer your question, or what is behind the question? What messages are we given that are not of truth? And then if you wish to relate something about your recent seclusion.
I think not.
Not of truth, yeah. So when I speak of what messages we may have been given that aren't of truth, I have, I think we all receive some degree of, I'll call it, wounding or false messages from our, maybe the families that we grew up in. Our families always do the very, very best they can, but when we're in our formative years, we sometimes receive a message that we carry into adulthood that we've never purified. We've just allowed it to continue to express to us. And it may be around issues such as worthiness. It might be around messages of, I have to do it alone. And I'll let you know that one of my messages that I got was, you need to do this alone. And so the whole idea of reaching out for help, reaching to God, is something that I needed to learn how to do, because I was established in needing to do it by myself. And because there was nothing offered. And I love my mom and dad. I love what they brought me, because that lesson has brought me to God. And I totally celebrate anything that we've been given as a message, as a thread to discovering really who we are and how we find our realization. So those are some nods in the direction: worthiness, self-love. There can be, when I spoke, I talked about self-loathing. Swamiji mentioned self-loathing, that there are people that have a hard time loving themselves. And really that ability to love yourself is critical. To be able to feel yourself worthy of God's love. And I think at some level, many of us struggle with that. We see ourselves as separate from God. And why, I think even that God cast us out, and separated us from him. It's like, I have a bone to pick, but here we are, part of that spirit, and to know that we are part of God, and to claim that, to claim ourselves as love. And then my recent seclusion, I don't know that I had one. Oh, yesterday. Yeah. Oh, okay. So for me, seclusion is at least 10 days. So thank you. So my day yesterday, it was a day of diving into the teachings. And honestly, I took the material and I just sat and looked at that reading. And if you look at that reading, look at the words experiences and how many times Swamiji wrote about experiences. I mean, I had to tease that apart, and there was a part of me that just wanted to take one of the items. I just wanted to take one and say, okay, I'm just going to talk about God's grace, or I'm going to talk, because when it's that obscure, it's like, well, just talk about anything. But I wasn't giving up. And so my day was one of being very peaceful about seeing what I could discover in that reading. And again, I highlighted the words experiences, and then I found grace, and it's like, what is grace, love, truth, wisdom? I was perplexed. And like I said, it wasn't until I drew this and found that the grace was the power to rise. So here's the power to rise and I drew it. And it's like, okay, power to rise. And then here is truth, wisdom, love, kindness. Here's the law that comes and it's like, what is underneath? So here's the law that's handed down, and what is underneath all of this? And Alex mentioned the Kabbalah. And of course, that is the energy that's underneath the law, expressed by all traditions. And then I realized that the power to rise was the message of Christ, the message of truth. He came to offer truth and wisdom and love. And that's the Shakti. That was the power. And so I also realize, and I get to say, part of my seclusion was kicking my family out of the house and asking my son and his girlfriend and husband to leave, and that I could have stillness. And so they left. I had glorious stillness. And then there was a point for anybody that does do talks where you do your work, you do your studies, and then you go to bed. Why do you go to bed? You go to bed because we actually digest when we sleep. Our digestion window is between 10 and 2. And I know there's a more specific time, but we digest our days through sleep. So I studied, I went to bed early, I got a good night of sleep, and then I woke up and it all knit together in an even deeper way than what I had before I went to sleep. And that was the digestion that happened within me. So my recommendation to you is to get to bed before 10 o'clock and digest your day. And it's really, we live in a culture of indigestion. We live in a culture of undigested experiences that actually bring us stress. Undigested experiences stress us out, and I'll even call them mini traumas. We need to digest our days. We need to find the time to get still, to digest and assimilate. So that was my seclusion.
Oh my gosh. I got the additional message of digesting. my days. And I just want to wish the both of you such a wonderful, happy, beautiful couple. Happy Valentine's Day. It's so wonderful to see you, and so appreciate and respect and acknowledge how your whole family helped all of us here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
And
last
Niranjana.
chance.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. It's such a blessing to see you again. You look fabulous and wonderful and so full of light. And also meeting you, Mahadeva. I don't know if I met him when I was over there beginning in the 50th celebration and then on to the Living Discipleship. I just wanted to answer Alex's question, also having gone through the program, and that he asked what is to be gained from the program itself. And I have to say, it's Godspeed. And so what I mean is exponential progress on the highway to the infinite. So indeed, if Savikalpa Samadhi is our goal, and even further than that, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, in order to get there, as we all know, being adherents of Sanatana Dharma, you have to obliterate the ego. You have to diminish the ego at whatever level that it has a hold on you at the moment. And so, I mean, the program, it's not Hogwarts, okay? It's not that kind of instantaneous magic that you can just go in there and wave your wand and boom, your ego's finally dissipated. You know, it's a function of the level of spiritual maturity that you are in at the time. And so that's what I mean, where you will have exponential growth. That's the end result. I've experienced levels of bliss that I just didn't think were possible, but you had to do the work while you were in there. You have to go in there and take a deep look at yourself. And like you were saying, these false beliefs we have about ourselves that we carry multiple, who knows how many thousands of incarnations, but you are given methods, techniques, and practices on how to deal with whatever is keeping you from divine knowledge, from knowing the infinite Lord and the Guru in a deeper way. And that's why Niranjana says it's an inner pilgrimage. So I just wanted to share that, and thank you so much for taking the time, both of you, for being with us, and hope to see you again soon and in person.
You, that was so beautiful. I guarantee you in this program, you will meet your ego.
Am I ready for that?
No, we find our rough edges. You will find your rough edges, and you'll have the opportunity to polish them and to be loved as you polish them. That's the thing, is to sit in love as your ego comes and thrashes and tries to look good or be smart or whatever the ego needs to do. And then to find yourself in a circle of friends that love you through it all as you polish yourself and surrender each little piece at a time, the threads of ego. So Hugh, you couldn't have said that more beautiful. I'm so glad there's a recording of what you shared. Thank you, Hugh.
And I want to say, I think we're doing the prep work right here through Ananda in Texas as we continue to serve in this community, in this Sangha, because exactly what you said, you know, we're doing the prep work now. And this course, call it a course, Living Discipleship, the only prerequisite, is true, that I heard is Kriya Bond for a year and very dedicated to this path of self-realization with Paramahansa Yogananda. Is that true?
Offer yourself in service.
Oh yeah, all the all the things that come with it. Yeah.